It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we'll be talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 13.
Yes.
Let's get to it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Yes. So where we started in this episode was back at the conversation with Kimmy and Maurice. Mm-hmm. They were pretty much having like their own debriefing after the conversation with Monster and Kiowa. And Maurice is saying that Kimmy should speak to Kiowa, air out their issues. And it flashes back to 2019 to where Kimmy was saying that she felt that she deserved an apology for Kiowa for insinuating that she was like a side chick or was the reason for the demise of their marriage. So
forget that. She said apologies.
Yeah.
She said
multiple.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kimmy, she said she would agree to be at every meeting. So Maurice said that, okay, well then I'm going to set up this meeting between you and Kiowa. I felt like he was doing that out of spite or.
Oh no, it definitely was spite.
Yeah, like he was kind of just trying to control the issue and say, well, you said you're going to do this, so I'm going to put you in this uncomfortable situation.
Yeah, it control is the right word. I also think of the word of, my word with them too is passive aggressiveness. Mm-hmm. Very like, oh, okay, well, since you like to be at every meeting, mm-hmm. I'm going to set a meeting up for y'all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Even though it was, there wasn't no yelling and there wasn't no cussing, that was an argument.
Yeah.
That wasn't a discussion of trying to get to a solution. It was just an argument on TV. Mm-hmm. That's basically what it was. You can tell that Maurice was very defensive. And because of his defense, he became, I don't want to say offensive because I don't think he was trying to intentionally hurt his wife. Mm-hmm. But he was basically trying to like, okay, well, since you are go to every meeting, mm-hmm. and since I'm not the only one that needs work, how about I'm gonna set a meeting for y'all two so y'all can just clear the table. Mm-hmm. And she's like, clear the table for what? No, y'all figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like Kimmy, I honestly feel like Kimmy's right in most situations. I feel like she's probably very level-headed. Okay. And I felt like in this situation, she was saying the past is the past. There's no reason to bring it up. And I feel like bringing it up is going to it could possibly cause a rift in the relationship and bring about new issues. So I agreed with her. Just let it be the past. We've moved on. We're in a better space. Let's move on to the main issue, which is raising Monster.
Yeah, dude. Like, so. You know how I said, like, in a relationship, there's always need to be a diffuser mm-hmm. whenever there's, like, a disagreement. Mm-hmm. I think Kimmy played the diffuser. I think, like, based off how Maurice was handling everything, mm-hmm. she could have easily, like, took it up a notch, but eventually you see like she was like, okay, whatever you want, because mm-hmm. she knew at that moment that in this argument, even though it didn't look that way, that it can rather go bad or we could just leave it where it's at. Yeah. It's already not at a good that like we both agree on something, mm-hmm. but sometimes in a relationship it's just best just to we're gonna leave it where it's at. We're not gonna make it any worse by saying things or by escalating the situation. Yeah. And that's basically what she did. She basically was like, you know what? Whatever you want, even though that's passive-aggressive in itself, mm-hmm. she's like, whatever you want. I go to every meeting you said. Mm-hmm. So it's like, Maurice, man, you was a little stubborn, man. It's kind of crazy. I mean, look, but it's nothing different from what you normally see in arguments between a couple. You know what I mean? Like, eventually, like, it totally went off about Monster and how to get him better. And now it's like, you know what? Maybe y'all need to get y'all things together. And I don't know what his obsession is with trying to get them like 100% to like each other. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I'm like, this is your old wife talking to your new wife. Mm-hmm. And I understand like they are parenting your son together. Mm. But I don't know if like they need to like each other to do that. I don't know. Do you?
No, they don't need to be close. Like, mm-hmm. I feel like the way that they're at is fine. I think that they have an open line of communication to where Kimmy can go to Kiowa and say, hey, I'm having this issue. What do you think? Or have you had any conversations with Monster? And what is your input? So I feel like they're good where they're at. And I feel like him pressing the issue was just him trying to control the situation and kind of point fingers, which he had been doing the whole conversation of, oh, you babied him, or
from last episode.
From the last episode. He likes to point fingers, which Kimmy even made a comment, before you start deciding or saying things that I need to do different, maybe you can look at yourself. And that's something that she said, towards the end of that scene.
Yeah, and Kimmy said a joke, even though it's passive aggressive. She said, Will you be giving me my lines, basically? Like basically, when I go to this meeting, will you be telling me my script or what to say and what to do? Yeah. And that's just a typical adult argument that we just saw on national television. And it's good to see an argument like that doesn't have to deal with cussing each other out and yelling at each other. It was just a typical argument. But Maurice, you was very big passive aggressive man during that scene. I understand though. Yeah. I understand.
All right, and then next we see Letitia and her daughters. So this was a really cute scene. So she is having a hair care line for her daughters. Yes. And this is their photo shoot for Macy and Mila. So she has the girls, she does their hair, their makeup, they're getting their photos done. And then towards the end of the photo shoot, one of her daughters starts crying. I guess she got a lash or something in her eye. And she was, Kiki comes in and she's telling Kiki, with kids, you just never know how the end of a photo shoot would go. So it was really cute scene. I love seeing, when they have the kids involved.
Can I stay right there for a second?
Yeah.
Which episode is this? This is season what?
6, episode 13.
Season 6, episode 13. I wrote down, this is the first time that we've seen Tisha, right? Actively be a mom outside of cooking and cleaning for the kids. And this is the most confident I ever seen Tisha in the whole series. Yeah. I seen her from season 1. Of course, I went back to it. She's true to this. I'm new to this. And Tisha's thing, at least to me, is, why are you showing lack of confidence? Even in a couple episodes ago, when she's presenting the Black Expo and things like that, she was leaking confidence, being with her daughters, being with her children, compared to everything else that we seen when she being a public speaker, when she have her own businesses. This is probably my favorite scene of Tisha from the whole series. Because I was like, this is the Tisha I like to see. Someone who is very, 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 very confident. Yeah, I'd agree. I definitely agree. So when Kiki comes, Kiki actually brings it up to Tisha that... That's funny. Yeah, that is funny. She brings it up to Tisha to say, hey, you have some good news and you never even told me what's going on. So Kiki is referencing that Tisha is getting the key to the city of Mobile, Alabama. I think that's where they're from. So Tisha was saying that she didn't tell Kiki, not because Kiki was a last minute thought or afterthought. She was saying that she's had so much going on with the Black Expo, the thing with her kids, that she just didn't really take the time to realize how big of a deal it was. Yeah. So she... I think she said her agent had to tell her manager had to tell her, this is a big deal. Yeah. So, Tisha didn't view it as a big deal. Right. So then it was at that point where she said, well, I don't know what day of the week it was, but she said, this Saturday I'll be accepting the key to the city. Would you be able to come? And Kiki, of course, automatically says, yes, of course. There's a celebration. I'm going to be there. So we'll circle back to that. But that's where they left off. Yeah. So next is Mel and Kimmy going to the wellness spa. Shout out to Mel, man. I love seeing Mel on TV, man. I don't know if y'all been paying attention this season. You can just tell this Mel is different than the previous Mels we've seen in previous seasons. She kind of seemed like she's there, but she's not there. So to see her a lot actually in this episode, I was like, it's good seeing Mel. It's good seeing Mel. Yeah, I do feel like she's kind of tried to stay away from group conversations or
I really think she tries to protect her peace. And a lot of that is walking away from different conversations and situations.
Or actually leaving.
Yeah, or leaving the scenes. Yeah. So it was nice to see her in entirety with the scene with Kimmy being comfortable.
Yeah.
And just having girl talk and chatting it up.
Yeah,
it was nice seeing her in that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
They did the spa before. They did another spa day before.
The one that Mel left.
Mel left. That Tisha threw. But Mel had actually called Kimmy and wanted to do like their own kind of spa day. So This is when we get to see that. So they're doing something called like a muscle stimulator, to where it's basically they're doing like 1,000, 20,000 ab crunches just by using this machine.
Not real. But
So it's not like a real massage, but kind of like a workout.
I'm just saying, you're not going to get abs from this.
Yeah.
I understand.
So they both just try to catch up with each other and explain what's been going on in their lives. So Kimmy talks to Mel about the situation with Kiowa, and Maurice wanted them to clear the air, and how she was upset about Kiowa saying that they interfered in their marriage. And then Kimmy dropped a tidbit of information that I don't think we had heard before, which was her saying that they signed the divorce papers. They were waiting for the judge to sign off of it. But at the time, Kiowa was looking at reconciling.
Meaning what?
Trying to get back together, trying to fix their issues. But Maurice was still steadfast. I want a divorce.
Yes.
And at that point, that's where Kimmy had entered the relationship based on what she's saying.
And she said during that time, I think she said the papers were signed. Like, it was done. But it was never a time in the middle of their marriage or
where they were happily married.
She wasn't the cause of their divorce.
Right.
Maybe you can flip it and say maybe she is the cause of us not being able to reconcile. I put it like this: if y'all was happily married, there wouldn't be nothing to reconcile.
Right.
Who knows? I don't know.
But that actually gives me a different perspective into Kiowa's side.
How so?
Because if Kiowa was trying to reconcile at the time and Kimmy popped up, I can see Kiowa having the perspective of, I might have been able to save my marriage if this person wasn't an option for Maurice.
Do you think Maurice would have went back if there was no Kimmy?
No. I think his mind was made up. But I think for Kiowa's sake, I think she might have thought maybe I would have had a chance if there wasn't this person here.
Hey, listen here, man. Don't come to me trying to reconcile. When I have my signature down, you have your signature down. I'm sure within the process before we put our names on this paper, we could have talked about reconciling.
Right.
I'm sure before we even got the lawyers, we could have talked about reconciling. Now that I'm about to lose this weight, because I think Maurice was a little bigger.
Yeah, he was losing weight. I mean, he was out on the scene. He was dating. So Kimmy wasn't the first person he got with after his marriage.
So I'm like, now that I'm about to lose this weight and about to get something brand new, don't talk about you want to reconcile now that the papers are signed. It's like, come on, man. Like, I already dead this marriage, even though, when kids involved, I would say, like, give us some thoughts, or you wouldn't be having this problem, but who am I?
Right. And then Mel catches Kimmy up and talking about the court and the child situation.
Yeah.
And just everything that they're dealing with, and Martell wanting full custody. I did want to ask you.
What's up?
Do you think the reason, or one of the reasons, that Martell wants full custody is so he can get child support?
Ooh.
He's struggling financially.
Well, we don't know that as a fact.
No.
Ask me that question once, like, we get to that scene. Give me time to think for an answer for that one. Because that one never crossed my mind. Yeah. That never crossed my mind.
Okay. We'll circle back when we get to the scene with the Fletchers and everything.
Shout out to Martell, man.
All right. Then we move on to Letitia. She's getting her hair braided. She invites Kiki down so they can have a conversation. Yeah. So Letitia, they showed a flashback, which I really wish they would have put it in the episode or made like a half episode or a real scene about it, because I thought Tisha looked beautiful at her key ceremony, and it was such a big deal, and it looked like it was a huge event. So I would have liked to see a little bit more of that than a flashback.
We have an hour, and we gonna choose what we gonna. Guess what? We know what was the topic of this episode.
Yeah.
Not Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alabama though. I got family down there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tisha is talking to Kiki, and Kiki didn't show up.
She didn't show up to the event.
She didn't show up.
Okay.
Apparently, she did call Tisha and said that she wasn't going to be able to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But Tisha was really disappointed that Kiki didn't come. Even to the point to where she said, you know, when people disappoint you, you have to, you know, guard your heart, protect yourself.
Okay, Tisha.
And either I have to start having... lower my expectations for you.
Okay, Tisha.
Or even get people out of my life. The whole get people out of my life thing I felt like was a stretch.
Okay, Tisha.
But what did you think about Tisha's reaction to Kiki not showing up for her?
Let me get on Kiki first. The nerve of Kiki.
Okay.
That come in a couple scenes ago saying, you didn't invite me to you getting the key of the city. Come on. You know? Then to not show up is crazy. You know? Like you can't, I'm not going to say beg for an invitation, but basically garner an invitation and then say you're going to be there and not be there. Also, Tisha, if Kiki have shown characteristics of doing this, I don't understand. Maybe you can explain it to me. Once you show me characteristics that you will do this, you doing this always becomes an option. I never have my hopes up.
Yeah.
So I'll never be disappointed. I think Tisha, in a way, was guilt tripping her cousin. It is her cousin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was guilt tripping and putting a little 20 on 10 because you can't say that, oh, it's not a big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal. That's why
she wasn't even going to bring it up.
Exactly. Like, I didn't think it was a big deal that I'm getting the key to the city and then treat it as a big deal when I'm not there. Now, granted, she did say she was going to come. So, like, I agree that, like, if you give your word, you should do that. I think Kiki said she didn't have a way down there.
Yeah, like some things happened to where she said it was out of her control to where she couldn't get there.
Yeah, she said that. Like, she didn't have she said she was trying to rent a car to get down there.
Yeah, but they wouldn't like rent the car to her.
But my thing is, you know what sucks? It sucks when you are the person, or you are, because you know how in every group of friends everybody have a role. Yeah. So it sucks that you are the one, if you're labeled as the one that like, oh, never comes through, that always have an excuse. And then you try so hard to be like, you know what? I'm going to get this label off of me. I'm going to come through. And then a legitimate reason of why you can't come through comes up. And then a person like, you always do this. And you're like, I really was trying. I really was going to make it. But this time it's not an excuse. I wasn't sick. I'm not lying. I just couldn't get a car to go down there. Okay, it's always this. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to cut people out your lives. I'm like, wow. This is a lot for a Mobile key of the city ceremony. No. Yeah. I'm not trying to throw shots at Mobile. You know, I'm just saying it's a lot for that situation. What are your thoughts about that?
I felt like Tisha had a right to be upset. I know she prefaced it as saying that it wasn't a big deal. She really wasn't thinking about it. But the fact that Kiki brought it up, she was so excited about it. Yeah. And Tisha, she was just like, you know what? It really is a big deal. So, yeah, can you come? Like, and her actually recognizing how big of a deal it was. I think that it probably changed in her mind from not being a big deal to being a big deal. Probably after the conversation with her agent and after the conversation with Kiki, to where she was like, okay, like, yeah, this is a huge thing for me. And I do want my family and friends there. So I was disappointed that Kiki didn't go. Yeah. And I understand if she had a legitimate reason. But at the same time, it doesn't negate the disappointment. And also by you having a track record of not showing up.
Yeah, it's that track record.
Is kind of makes things 10 times worse.
Yeah, it's really that track record.
Yeah.
Listen, Kiki, no more guarantees.
Yeah. And then at the end, she says, anything else, there's going to be so many other things, and I guarantee I'm going to be there. And I'm just like, Kiki,
don't guarantee.
Don't overpromise.
Don't guarantee.
Just say you'll do your best.
Don't even say that. So I think she's at that point to where you just need to pop up.
Yeah.
Like, just pop up, because you're labeled as the one that always have an excuse. You are labeled as the it's always something friend.
Right. But see, at the same time, Kiki, which she also touches on in this scene, she had addiction to prescribed medications to pills, drugs, and she's on methadone and trying to wean off of that.
I understand.
So I think that with her, history of being addicted to drugs, and probably her life just kind of being chaotic in that sense.
Now you calling her a druggie.
Well, her history.
Okay.
And I think, the way that they explained it was, she was very chaotic in the past.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you do kind of have to learn how to be organized with your time.
Facts.
And to think ahead and to try to sift out the issues ahead of time so that way you can be there for your commitments. So I think that maybe Kiki just doesn't have all the tools she needs to be successful in being there for her friends and family because she hasn't had that organization in her life, period.
See, this what happens.
So it's not an excuse, but I think it is something to note that, for like Tisha said, I think this is a way for you to adjust your expectations. But I wouldn't say it's to cut her out of your life completely. I feel like to cut her out of your life completely is when she said F you and that baby, when,
Whoa.
when y'all brought that up, the first episode or so. That's when I would have cut her off.
Hey, listen.
When Tisha was pregnant.
Kiki.
But this isn't the time.
Dude, you see what your labeled has brought you this far? Blair is basically saying, hey, listen, let's cut her some slack. She's a druggie, and she's going through a lot. This is what happened when you're labeled as the it's always something friend. Mm-hmm. You have to do pop-ups, no guarantees. You need to do pop-ups of just like, oh, Kiki's here. That's how people need to feel when you pop up. Like, oh, Kiki here.
Yeah. What a nice surprise.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Not where's Kiki. You never want anybody to say where's Kiki. Mm-hmm. You want people to feel like you're the cherry on top. Mm-hmm. Oh, Kiki's here. That's how you get yourself out of the it's always something friend. Mm-hmm. And for Tisha, I'm going to give a little criticism to Tisha, and then we go into the scene of the night. Mm-hmm. Tisha, do not revel in being or playing the victim. Even though Kiki wasn't there, Marcel was there. I'm sure your kids was there. Be happy for the people that was there more than worried about the one person that wasn't. That's just how I view life. There's more people for me than there is against me. So I'm sure the people that was there, it was more of them that was there for you than Kiki, the always is something friend, who wasn't there. So that's why I say, it doesn't mean you got to cut out your life, but you just know to take things with a grain of salt. That's just my little 2 cents.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then we go into this part of the episode.
The scene of the night.
So Mel goes to Nell and Chris Fletcher's house. Mm-hmm. They're very good friends. And this is on the heels of them being subpoenaed to court. So Martell's attorney subpoenaed them to court to testify in their child custody situation. In juxtaposition to them meeting with them, we see Martell meeting with his mom because she was also there giving her testimony. So where we start off is Mel saying to the Fletchers, or explaining to the audience, that Martell didn't even give them a heads up.
To the subpoena. And they're supposed to be friends of both of them.
Yeah. And, in seasons past, they've given advice to Martell and Mel about their marriage and just been pretty much like their role models in marriage and trying to support them.
Facts.
And so when we get to this part, him not even mentioning to them or even asking them if they would come to court to testify, I thought that was pretty foul on his part. If these are really your friends, why would you not talk to them first?
That's true.
Then, so pretty much the gist of the situation is that Chris Fletcher, he's the one who took the stand. Now, I don't think she even had a chance to go in to speak. So Chris, he went on to stand and he spoke truthfully about the situation and saying that, you know, they both take care of their kids. But there was also something that Mel's attorney brought up of Martell not having a stable home. So the home that Martell is staying in, he was renting. Chris had the home up for sale. So now the home is under contract. Martell has to move. Apparently, he's been moving a lot because he doesn't have a place to where he lives permanently.
That's why your question, I never even thought of that question that you asked me.
Yeah, did you want to touch on that now?
Not now.
Okay.
Not now.
And Martell even asked Mel to pay his court fees, which was really wild.
I mean, that's not as wild. That's not as wild.
To me, while it's wild, is because Martell is the reason that they're in court in the first place.
Yeah.
He brought her to court. I think Mel kind of explains the situation to where I think there was a protective order that they were going to have, and she wanted, and there was a date for that. But when Martell's people filed the custody thing, it made it so they didn't have to show up to the other court situation. So this is what they're dealing with currently.
And divorce is so messy. Kids even make it more messier. I'm trying to see from Martell's perspective, because even then he criticized his mom. He was like, "Hey, mom, when you took this thing, that was your time to stick it to them."
And they're saying she was only on the stand for 4 minutes.
And and of course he probably got his team like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have my mom up there, and she's gonna help me win this case." And I think we're losing sight that like this was her daughter-in-law. This is her grandkids, and it's not just about. Even though I ain't gonna hold you, if that's my mama, and listen here, we gonna take her down. I understand that, but you can definitely tell that the scene made it look like the Fletchers chose a side because Mel is over their house.
Yeah.
And even Chris' wife said, "Hey, listen here. He ain't lying for nobody.
Right.
You ain't gonna have me over here losing my business, losing my money because of whatever lies you saying." So it sucks that like based on the show, Martell is having cash flow problems and that he have to move. But this is a situation that he put on himself, and that's what the Fletchers kept saying. Chris was like, "Yo, I kept trying to talk to Martell, tell him like, yo, drop this."
Yeah, he tried to warn him multiple times.
Like drop all of this because like it's not going to be it's not going to be as clean and as quick and as swift as you think. Especially if you subpoena me. If you subpoena me, then I'm telling the truth. Yeah. Especially since you don't give me no heads up. You don't give me no like, "Hey man, my lawyer may need you to go on stand." No, like I'm getting an envelope to my house as if I did something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't do nothing.
And nobody wants to go to court if they don't have to. And for you just saying, "All right, you need to come to court and speak on my situation." What? Okay.
It's strange because I think all of it is petty. But I thought it was just petty before you presented that question. Now this may be a necessity move of Martell to get some money because to him he already feels like, "Hey Mel, you wouldn't be who you are if it wasn't for me in the first place." So basically he probably feel like, "Hey, I'm that income you getting, you wouldn't be in a position if it wasn't for me, because from the beginning you was doing this. I got you into it, even though I don't have my own builder's license and things of that nature. But I pivoted you to where you're going." So to him, he probably feels like, "Hey, I know we're not together, but I think I should still get some of that money." Even Mel said while we had a joint income while we was together, like he enjoyed the lifestyle and the way that he was living. You can't live like that still when you by yourself.
Exactly.
Martell, he likes to dress nice, and granted, he does look nice in the suit and so forth. But bruh, Nike Techs, Nike sweatsuits. You may need to get off the tailor for a little bit. I don't think, and maybe it's not my place to say, you can't go in with the expectation, because I think Martell said something across the lines of they had an agreement to where Mel get the kids for 6 months, he get the kids for 6 months.
No, that was Mel's proposal, which Martell and his mom thought it was crazy that she would propose that.
That's not crazy.
Because he was saying, I don't even want to be without my kids for a week. I didn't think it was crazy. I felt like Mel was trying to do her part. Compromising and saying, you can have them half of the year and I can have them half of the year. I felt like she was trying to do her part in compromising and sacrificing that because of y'all being in the situation.
Martell and Mama Martell, listen to me. Christopher, who is...
who y'all don't know.
You cannot, in my opinion, as a divorced marriage, you cannot have the same expectations as if y'all still married. That's craziness.
Things are going to change.
If you wanted to see your kids every day, then you shouldn't have cheated on your wife. You shouldn't have had a kid on your wife, and you wouldn't have broke that family up. That's just my opinion. Don't beat me up. I'm just saying. But to have that same, I can't go a day without seeing my kids. Yes, you can.
And you will.
And you will. You know what I mean? Because that's what happens when two people who were married gets divorced and they don't live together. That's what happens. So a lot of people, in my opinion, they are divorced, but they want to live the same life or the same routine as if they was married. Yeah, I'm gonna see my kid every. No, you're not.
Exactly.
You're not gonna see your kid. And I think that's where Martell, to your point, is like, well, I'm gonna be spiteful, and not only am I gonna be spiteful, I may need this. You know, the kids are young enough that this gonna let me be at least live off for at least 10 years.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is just not one kid. He probably don't got to work no more. He probably wouldn't even have to get no builder's license. Man, I'm rooting for you. Please get this builder's license. You know what I mean? Like, please, Marcel, please, more study classes, please. So it's like, you can't have that expectation. Y'all are divorced, and y'all not even co-parenting well. I think at one point, and I think you would mention it, you don't even have you had to get the judge so you can get Mel's new number. Right. You didn't even have her number.
But Mel, she also wants to appeal. So what ended up being the arrangement is that they alternate weeks as far as having the kids. But the statement that the judge made was that they were saying the father has the best interest, but they couldn't say the same for the mother. And Mel was saying the reason that is because Mel changed her number and didn't give Martell her new number. Yeah. The reason for this is because Martell was harassing her. Yeah. He followed her on a date, recorded the date, even, on social media side where we learned that allegedly he was playing a part in trying to release some type of revenge porn on her.
Yeah. I think that's something that was going through social media. I don't think that came.
That wasn't on the show. No. Yeah. So I mean, Mel had reason to not give her number, 100%. To try to protect herself and her peace. Yes. In order to be in a good emotional state for her kids. But when you're dealing with the court situation, it's best for you, at least from my perspective, for you to have the proof that he's harassing you. When I'm with the kids, he's calling me 20 times a day. When I'm with the kids, and I'm, having primary parental time with the kids, I'm getting all these text messages throughout the day. Show the judge that he is harassing you.
Don't take it upon your own hands.
Right. But what did you think about that?
You said the lines perfectly.
Exactly.
you said my lines perfectly. Because at first I think your point was, I see why she did it, but I'm like, you can't.
I do see why she did it, but you got to prove it.
But you can't. You can't take it upon your hands, because everything and anything will be used against you in court. The same way as you used his realtor to prove that he's been moving, because Chris is his realtor and things like that. That hey, his house is up for sale and he about to move again. He's not a stable father. That's the same way he could use, like, hey, how can I be a stable father? I don't even got the number to the mother. I can't co-parent well. She don't got the best interest at heart. It's a dirty game.
Yeah.
And y'all both getting dirty. You know, so hopefully.
But at the same time, Mel's attorney would have never had to ask Chris that if he didn't subpoena him. That's what Martell, he don't be thinking.
But here's the thing. When you're grasping for straws, you don't eat. You're just trying to grab for anything, and you just trying to be like, you know what? Since y'all go have y'all little meetings and y'all go be friends over there, how about I'm gonna subpoena y'all to court? To him, he's probably just thinking like, I'm just gonna make him go to court and I'm just gonna stick it to him just that way. I don't think he got that far into thinking like, oh, they go ask him questions. like no, I think like Martell moves based off the history of the show. He shows the characteristics, because I don't want to just put him in a box and talk about him personally, because I don't know him personally. But the character that he shows on the show is spiteful. So it's hard to tell or to judge his intent as pure. So, yeah. Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out. Yeah. Next, we move on to Kimmy's dinner with Kiowa. The last scene of the night.
Yes. And they're starting the conversation off talking about Monster.
Before they started talking,
yeah,
and they like just seeing them two sitting across each other, what was the vibe you got? Like, do you think they like each other? Like, just them sitting next to each other.
I don't think they like each other, but I don't think that they're in the space of dislike. I think they're cordial.
Yeah. I don't think. It's kind of hard to. I ain't get a good vibe, but at the same time, I didn't get a bad vibe. Like I gotta. Why are we doing this vibe? Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, we going back into the past, and yeah, the vibes were just off for me for this scene before it even started. But go ahead. Yeah.
So Kimmy starts the conversation off because Kiowa and Monster had a one-on-one conversation. So Kimmy is asking, you know, with your conversation with Monster, is there anything that you got out of it? Anything, you know, that we can use to help the situation? Yeah. And Kiowa is pretty much saying that she just feels like he needs more time with his mom, and she's going to make an effort to come out some more. She doesn't know how she's going to do it. I think probably, you know, work schedule, financially wise, you know, she doesn't go into detail, but she said she'll find a way to come down and spend more time with Monster.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Why?
Because it goes back to what I said about Martell and Mel. You and Maurice is divorced. I do believe, like, before I even give my opinion, I need to know what more means. Do more means once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month? I don't know. Maybe every other week? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think she knows either.
But my thing is, like, for me, I am the type of person where you got to rip off the Band-Aid. Just rip it off. I think he needs to get comfortable in his current situation to where mommy is not always there to save him. I'm not saying that in a way that he's soft, or I'm not even saying it in the way that Kiowa babied him. I'm not even on that type of vibe. But I don't know if Monster needs saving or he needs adjusting. And in that moment, I think he needs adjusting more than saving. I don't think he's a bad kid. You know what I'm saying? Or even a bad teenager. I think he needs adjusting. And if you put the training wheels back on him of like, hey, even though me and your father are not together, look at us. I'm here every other week. Look at us. I'm here once a month. And we get to act like one big family. That's not the reality of his situation, of his everyday experience. He lives with his father. He lives with his father's wife, which is his stepmother. They need to cultivate that his everyday living experience.
Yeah, his new normal.
Yes. Then giving him these highs. Dude, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that. At first, I did have the thought that, you know, maybe his mom coming around could make him better adjusted.
Maybe.
And it could be the case, but I overall do think the highs of having the mother come for visits and things like that, it could honestly
put him in a lower place.
Put him in a lower position when she leaves.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's like, man, like, I wish this was an everyday thing, and just be pushed, you know, into to depression or just worse feelings about the situation. So I do agree that they need to help him adjust to his current situation. For her to come and, maybe have every 3 months, or maybe if he can go see her during the summer, at least just have something solid to where he can look forward to.
Yeah.
But I agree, just her popping up more and more and more, like, I think it could just make him more upset about his current situation.
Yeah.
So, but any other thoughts?
No, it's some. You have more things that happen in that scene. How about to say?
Yeah.
How about to say?
The main thing of why they got together. Okay. So Kimmy brings up her concerns about in the past, Kiowa didn't clear up Kiowa inferred that Kimmy was a side chick in the way that she explained it of breaking up their relationship. Kiowa says, well, I never said you were a side chick. It was pretty much social media
gaslighting
who ran with the little bit that I did say. Kiowa was saying, I don't do interviews. Like, this isn't really my world. Okay. I only said my perspective, and what other people say about it, I don't have any control over. So she's kind of like, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do?
Kiowa was lying out her face. That's big lie energy. That's big passive aggressive energy too. There's something about this family that's just passive aggressive. Is by you not correcting the lie, because you can listen. Nobody asked for an interview. It could take a tweet or whatever. Hell, we saw you on the reunion show years ago. You could have easily corrected yourself because you went on TV and you didn't correct the lie. So that's why Kimmy looks at you side eye like, yo, you're not honorable to me. Like, I don't know if I can ever bang with you, because even though I may not like you, I'm not gonna let a lie. I'm not gonna let you live off a lie. I'm not gonna let a lie live off you. Rather, to where if I know you wasn't a side chick, hell, I may not like you for this, I may not like you for that, but like, she didn't do this, and Kiowa didn't, and Kiowa let the lie happen. Hey, you may not have started it, but you wasn't clear. And because you wasn't clear, it put Kimmy in the box of being a side chick. Even Mel said, hey, I never asked you. Did you?
Yeah, when they were in the spa situation. Yeah, because she wasn't even clear.
And my thing is, that didn't come out of thin air. That came out of something you said and something that you allowed to be continuously said. So to say like, hey, I can't make people say this or think that. I'm like, okay.
But the thing is, Kiowa, you played a major role in how everything started by what you did say. Yeah. So you don't have to take responsibility for how things snowballed. No, but you can take responsibility for your part. Yeah. But that's where I think we go back to Kiowa having a different perspective of the situation than Kimmy. Yeah. And maybe feeling like the reconciliation could have happened if it wasn't for Kimmy. Maybe. But I feel like Kiowa could have taken accountability for what she did say. But if she doesn't feel like she's wrong, and if she feels like Kimmy really is the reason, I mean, what more, like you said, what more can she say?
It goes back to the whole point of they would not get along. Yeah. Because even if, let's say I'm Kiowa, right? I'm very less good looking than Kiowa. Even if I can say the exact same thing that Kiowa said, if I didn't make people say that, and I'm not on social media, I don't do interviews. Let's say I say the exact same thing, but if I like you and like I really want to reconcile with you, my next words would be like, I apologize. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry for not stepping in the way you wanted me to. Sometimes you just gotta apologize just to move it forward. Yeah. And Kiowa didn't do that. No. Because Kiowa was like, I ain't doing anything, so I ain't got nothing to apologize for. Yeah. You know?
And she probably feels like she doesn't owe Kimmy anything.
She probably don't.
But I think that as co-parenting and having a good relationship, and so that Kimmy's, peaceful emotionally in this whole arrangement, that you would care enough and want to clear things out as much as you can on your part.
Even if Kimmy is misunderstood, you just want to your point, be like, hey, I didn't do that, and I'm sorry you felt that way. I never. Like, this will always be a stain, but I don't think it's a big of a stain as Maurice is trying to make it, though.
Yeah, because Kimmy is moving past it.
Kimmy's like, it is what it is. I'm gonna always respect your ex-wife. I'm gonna always show respect to Monster's mother. But and we will co-parent and we will get along when it comes to co-parenting. But we ain't go vacation together. I'm tired of us going to these one-on-one dinners together.
Yeah.
Like that's just not what we on. You know? And I don't know what Maurice wants from these two women.
I don't know what he wants either.
Bro, let it go.
Yeah.
If you wanted to be with Kiowa, you should have reconciled and been with Kiowa. But I don't think you wanted to be with Kiowa. So you got to understand that, A, I'm divorced from this woman, and my new lady don't want to be friends with my old lady. Period. Like
the end.
Dead it. Exactly. Like, it just is what it is. And they don't need to be friends to co-parent nicely.
Right.
No. Kiowa don't even seem like the type, even though she may be passive aggressive, she doesn't seem like the type to like aggressively go after Kimmy. And Kimmy's not going to aggressively go after nobody.
Yeah.
You know, so it just is what it is.
Yeah. Any final thoughts?
I don't have no final thoughts. Of course, this scene ended. Carlos love his to be continued. Bold words. This is another to be continued.
Right.
So I'm guessing we go pick up at the dinner.
Yeah.
And some more things going to come out about things that we don't know, things that we kind of have a cloudy
understanding.
Understanding on. So I look forward to the next episode to be continued again.
Yeah.
You know? Any thoughts on your end?
No, it was a good episode. I liked learning a little bit more about the reconciliation piece. That was something new. And definitely about how the custody situation went with the court. So it was a good episode. Very insightful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking forward to next week. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for stopping by. Y'all be good.
All right. Bye.